Um, let's go back here, and the first layout we're going to play is the loading layout. Okay, perfect. And naturally, how these actually work is when one layout is done. How do I trigger that actually? No, no. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, when you're using the loader, when you're using a layout as your loader, hold on, I'm being a dipshit. When this is done, it's going to basically trigger to the next one. Or how? No, I'm explaining that wrong. How this works is there's an option to say go to next layout, and but naturally, obviously, they will be organized as such as they'll just go boom, 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 boom. And so, how do I do this? Oh, you know what? I think I did it some kind of funky basic way. That's what I did. All right, so on the starter layout, when we're playing the wolf sound, uh, what we can have, one thing we can have is when the wolf noise ends. Let's see, silent on ended tag, so that we're controlling this by the tag. And I don't do it this way, but we're going to try to. Okay, so when the wolf howl sound with loading tag is done, it's going to go to next layout. Where's that bad boy? Hold on. There we go. I'm being an idiot. Go to layout by name or go to layout. Go to previous layout, go to next layout. Here we could just choose go to next layout because it's triggering on the loading, so it's going to go to the start menu. However, if you had these unorganized or organized differently, you couldn't do that. Alright, so let's see if this works. Now, one thing that could happen is this might trigger too prematurely, because how I actually have this programmed in some of my other games was originally how I did this, where once this would trigger, it play the howl sound, but I would also have like a wait 5 seconds, basically estimated to when, or not really estimated, but I know when it's going to end. So when the wolf howl ends, the wait is going to be complete, and then it's going to trigger. I'd even go up here and say go to the next layout. So I'm going to disable these right now. We're going to play this, and we're going to see if that works. Yeah, so you can see it did trigger, however, it did take a little bit of time, and that could be because my sound file has a little, you know, a little length at the end that we could trim up. However, alternatively, you could just disable this and re-enable these. I'll have to go through the anatomy of all this stuff as well. And let's see how this plays. This one actually might trigger too fast. Yep, see how that triggered a little too fast. So you just bump it. 6 might even be. I'll try 7. Yeah, 6 or 6.5 is probably going to be working there. And so that's pretty much how you want to make a, well, you can't loader layout. You can do it however you want. But definitely still a rookie, so I like using the fades. Alright, so now we got the start menu, and the start menu is not doing anything. You know, we have nothing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to the start menu, and we have the background layer pretty much done for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a menu layer, and I'm not going to go too far on this, but let us just make something. It's going to have a black background, and we're going to have red, actually let's do it this way. Black background, it's going to kind of have like a red border. I'm a sucker for black and red. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm making this for example's sake. And so this is almost a menu, almost a menu. And so we got that. And remember, we're on the menu layer, so this automatically, when I created it, it went to the menu layer. So what I'm going to do, start menu, menu background even. It could get super lame depending on how far you wanted to go. We're going to add some text. We're going to call this the menu. Welcome to the menu. Welcome, you've got mail. And, you know, we could have, let's see, start menu title. What are we going to put in here? Eventually, high score would be okay to put in here. What would I put in a menu? A difficulty setting. Yeah, you put difficulty setting, which can be just a button. You know what? I'll show you. You know what? Let's do this. Start menu difficulty text. Start menu difficulty text. Difficulty normal. Okay, so we have that. And we're gonna stick with this right now. Okay, go ahead and save, because I just like to save all the time. Because I've lost my work before in other aspects, not here, but like in working for clients and stuff. Well, when I was an employee. Yeah, let's make that centered so it looks better. Okay, so we have the menu there. And then, yeah, I might as well design a credits menu too. What do we want here? What do we want here? Red's gonna be the same thing. And again, we're in the credits menu. I don't like having position like that. For sake of example, I'm just gonna breeze through this if I can. Thanks to, and then from here you can have different things. You know, you can just have a bunch of thanks to, you know, whoever here. You can have it fading in and fading out each name. You can have each name scrolling up. I've done that before. I've done both those before. You can use effects to make them kind of like, you know, funky. You can do. I think maybe the credits menu would be cool to just have all the weird stuff that you play around with affect all the names. So, okay, so you can see the background layer on its own just exists like that, and then the menu layer exists on its own, the credits layer exists on its own. If you have them all together, then it's a mess. So one thing you can do, we're gonna make this. Let's make this super simple. We're gonna make the initial invisibility invisible in the actual game. And we could, and once we, so it'll basically look like this. And so if we just ran this layout, it's just going to look like that. Now if we had these on, I'm going to want to say that they would overshadow everything. Just like that. That does look weird. That shows weird colors on that. So what we're going to do, this is one way to do it. We're going to make them invisible. Background, alright. And so this is going to be the play. This is going to be the menu. Should call it text so I can actually see what it was. And the credits. So the menu, how we're going to work this is touch. Let's say we're going to design this for a phone or something. This actually works with mouse too. So on object touched, and which object? The start menu button. When that gets touched, and actually I think I like to add another condition here. And that is, no, I don't think it is here. Is it? Nope. I was looking for trigger once, because trigger once will help add more controls to making sure it only fires once. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set a layer to be visible, and that layer is going to be called menu. Yeah, menu. right? Yep, just menu. Okay. So once it's touched, it's going to set the menu visible. Let's see if that works. There we go. Now obviously, how do we close that? So what we want to do is we go to the menu, make a sprite, and let's just call this. Let's do that. Now normally I could just make this like in some kind of X or something like that, but no real need to right now. Now you notice I have no idea where that went. And that's because my background was selected. So it actually went to the background. So I'm going to change that to the menu. And now you'll see it's not in the background anymore. It's here. And so this is going to be basically our start menu, close button. And you go in here, and you can even, you can copy and paste these. So copy, paste, and what you can do, you can right click, replace object. What do you want to replace the start menu with? The close button. And what this is going to do is this is going to set menu invisible. Go ahead and save it because you always got to be anal about saving. And let's run the layout. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Pretty cool. And you would do the same thing with the credits menu. So even with the credits menu, you can say, okay, I'm going to replace this object. Copy and paste, first of all. I'm going to replace this object, start menu, credits, and this is going to make the credits layer visible. Beep, beep, beep. That one doesn't have a close button though. And then see, you can still open and close that one. However, you can't access this now. Oh, sometimes you can. Yeah, sometimes you can click through that. That is one of the dangers of using a lot of layers. Is they can be accessible even though you don't think they are. Like you'd think that I can't click this close button because this credit screen's over top of it, but I can. So how you combat that is, okay, so I only want the number one, I only want the menu to trigger. Add another condition while, let's see, layer, not pause, credits. Say on, so I only want start menu to trigger when credits is visible. So this is initially not going to work because I'll show you we want to invert this. And so once we invert it, it'll work. And this is showing. Now this won't work because this is showing. So if I go in here again, boom, that'll work. And this will still work because I don't have that programmed. But this won't work because it's still showing. And so I could go in here and say, I could even copy and paste this down into here because this is the close button. This is separate, so I drag it down. Start menu, close. So now these only trigger based on this menu being closed. So now that won't trigger. And another example, come on, open up. Beep. Now that won't close. So you'll get into that eventually if you're dealing with multiple layers, that you don't want them overlapping each other, triggering each other, that kind of thing. Now, what I showed you how to use was the visibility options and using visible and invisibility. When you get more complex or streamlining your game, you most likely will not use these visible and invisible options. You will be using a create and destroy option, and I can show you how to do that right now in this first video. And the idea here we have, let's drag this all the way down. Oops. So we have untouched, blah, blah, blah. If credits, blah, blah, blah is not visible, it's gonna set the layer menu to visible. So what I'm actually gonna do is, instead of having all this and setting this layer menu to visible, I can probably delete that, but I'm not going to right now. I'm going to add an action, and I'm going to use the create object action. And which object am I going to create? Let's see, what am I doing? I'm doing the start menu. Now see, the thing about this is going to be a lot more tedious. Start menu, okay. So on touch start menu, hold on, being a dipshit. Okay, which object is going to be created? We want the start menu background to be created. Which layer do we want it on? You can name the layer menu, or you can just choose whatever option is. I think it was layer 1. X and Y I'm going to keep blank for now. Let me go back here. So we're on start menu. Yeah, so you can see each layer has a number, so it was layer 1. And so one thing you can do is take a look at this. So we got the start menu. Close all this because we're focusing on the start menu. So this is the menu background. So I'm actually going to have it. There we go. I am going to have it create at this position, because that's where it is now. A lot of times when you're framing up these create and destroy objects, you will start with one master screen, probably on maybe level 1 or what have you, to frame it how you want it to look. So it looks great, and then you will apply all the creation objects afterwards based on that positioning and stuff like that. That's what I do anyway. So we get trim down the X and the Y. And so now what's going to happen is on the touch, it's actually going to create the start menu background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable all this crap. And so none of this stuff will work anymore, but this will still work. To really get this to work, I have to do it this way. On start of layout, where's that bad boy? When you get into creation and destruction, basically when you get into creating of objects, you are most likely going to have on start of any layout, a start menu background is going to destroy. Okay, so there's a topic basically on the on your game's performance, how long it takes to load and stuff like that, and how long it takes each level to load and stuff like that. There's an idea that if you load as many objects as you can immediately and then destroy them, then everything will be saved in your cache or whatever, cache storage, local storage, to make the game run faster, memory, if you will. So once you get into creating and destruction objects, you may end up with one massive on start of layout destroy so many objects, depending on how much you have. So now we have the start menu, and if you notice, let me go ahead and disable this really quick. Let me frame this up so where it makes sense. So the credits is going to be visible, menu is going to be invisible, credits is going to be invisible. Bleh. So right now we're looking good, and that kind of does work well. I probably have that programmed in there somewhere. Where the hell is that? Oh, I didn't disable both of them. All right, so everything's looking good. Nothing works. I am going to make the menu visible. And you'll see now the menu is overlapping everything. Now if I destroy the start menu background, then you'll see everything, but you won't see the start menu background. And then so I'd want to go ahead and destroy all this stuff too. However, for sake of showing you an example, so now it's destroyed, and if I click this, nothing happens. And that's still destroyed. However, if I click this, now it'll spawn. It'll create an object, and you'll actually see that it overlaps everything at this point. And in my experience, it's because the create object pretty much puts everything at the top of what's called the Z order. The Z order being, okay, so you have X, which is left and right, you have Y, which is up and down. The Z order is the depth of your layers, if you will. So it's like, let's say it's a layer within a layer. Let's say you have one layer only on your layout. Well, you have objects all over the place. What if you want one object to be more predominant over another one? For instance, if in a start menu design, if you want a start menu text menu to be at the forefront over an enemy's ship, or something like that, and kind of a good, it's kind of a good looking design, because you have like a UI kind of over, and well, I just said UI, but I mean, then you could use another layer to do that, but it's all in the same layer. You're just using a Z order to control what's up top, what's on bottom, send to front, send to back, kind of thing. Alrighty, so that's using the create objects, and that's with our start menu, and I think that's a pretty good place to stop. My recording, oh wow, an hour. So hopefully I got into some details, and again, Construct 2 pretty cool for simplifying a lot of stuff. Obviously there's the idea of what limitations does it have. You compare it with other things like Unity 3D, Unity, BioWare stuff, Unreal Engine. Obviously there's a lot of capabilities with 3D and stuff out there. This doesn't have that as much. Uh, Game Maker, what else is there? RPG Maker, stuff like that. It depends on what type of game you're making. Um, Definitely when I get into 3D stuff, I don't use this at all. I'm very, very newbie at 3D stuff. That takes forever, because one part about all this stuff is graphics. And I'm not an illustrator, and I can do coding, a lot of, coding inside construct, outside construct, whatever. I don't know a whole lot of languages, but I know languages. I know the conceptual basis of programming. So usually all it takes is learning a language, but this has been pretty fun. You can make a lot of cool stuff with it, because I grew up, with NES and stuff like that, and with this you can make pretty much any game up till when you get to stuff like PlayStation and 3D. Once we start getting into 3D, it becomes more and more lackluster. However, you can probably still make you can still make things on using this Construct 2 for some more elaborate designs. Lately, I've seen some things with graphics with beautiful backgrounds. Some games coming out nowadays just have great backgrounds, or play on colors, with the darkness and the lightness, or everything's dark until you get near a fire, that kind of thing. Really beautiful, beautiful graphics, and a lot of it is effects on those graphics. Because the graphics themselves are great. However, when you see the game running, and you can see how it's all meshing together, and how some of it's parallax, some of it's not. You can see the background slowly moving, but then there's another layer of background that's moving much faster. It looks really good meshed together. So, all right. So this should conclude. Well, let's conclude the first video design. I don't know if I'll work on this probably outside of videos, because if I just did this on videos, it'll take forever. But I could do that, but I will have the itch to kind of work on this outside. One thing I could probably do is work on the graphics outside, because that'll take a lot of time. The coding and stuff probably be the easier of the two. Oh, thanks so much for sitting through this bad boy. Yeah, an hour long. I'll definitely have to think of ways to cut that short. Alright, thanks so much, everybody. Norton Studios, Patreon, all that good stuff, nortonsoftware.com. Fledgling, growing, all that good stuff. I, as much as possible, want to stop working for other companies and that kind of thing. So, game design is one of them. Writing stories, and then I can always fall back on maybe owning a shop or something like that. So, alright, you guys, take care. Thanks for checking this out.